Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles Rather. I'm the managing partner at AmLaw Group, where we focus on global mobility for our clients, whether it's moving to the U.S., from the U.S., or any of a number of other jurisdictions. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about what documents are required for the Golden Visa in Portugal. Portugal is an extremely popular destination for our North American clients, and in particular for our American clients. And it's without surprise in reality, since it's a very affordable country, very beautiful, very friendly, very safe, and has a relatively flexible and workable visa immigration structure to allow you to acquire either a temporary status, such as say a digital nomad, or a more long-term residency that would lead to citizenship, such as through the Golden Visa program. And in fact, with the most recent changes in the EU for Golden Visa programs, Portugal's program is only one of two remaining programs in the EU, the other remaining one being that of Greece. If you've listened to some of our other videos, you know I probably have a partiality towards Portugal, towards the country in general. I think it's more supportive and amenable for our North American clients for a number of reasons, starting with the general standard of living, healthcare, prevalency of English. And I tend to think that generally that makes Portugal a little bit of a more favorable destination than, say, for example, Greece. Nothing against Greece. Maybe the biggest advantage with Greece is that it has only a 250,000 euro threshold to participate in the program, as opposed to Portugal, which requires generally for the Golden Visa 500,000 euros. Now, you might have done your homework and you might know that in theory, it's possible to get a Golden Visa in Portugal for 250,000 euros. And that's if you make a donation to a cultural or artistic organization or endeavor in Portugal that enhances the overall, I guess, cultural scene and cultural foundation, as they call it. But you have to remember, that's a 250,000 euro donation. You're not seeing that money back. So generally, even though it's less of a commitment than the 500,000 euros, if you invest in a fund in Portugal, it's a one-way street and you're not going to see that money back. So for that reason, I think the vast majority of our clients prefer the funds option with Portugal, with investing 500,000 euros. And that's what we generally focus on as well. So in addition to the minimum investment amount, and we're going to go off the assumption that you do want your money back and you probably would prefer the 500,000 euro process or option with Portugal, what other documents are required? Generally, you need to set up a Portuguese bank account. Now, there are certain exceptions, and if you've watched some of our other videos, you'll know about those exceptions, or reach out to us directly to find out what those are and what circumstances you do not have to open a Portuguese bank account. But the general rule of thumb is you would generally need to open a Portuguese bank account. Sometimes they're allowing, some banks, fewer and fewer, are allowing Americans to open them remotely. Generally, it's difficult to open remotely, but sometimes it's doable. But again, you need the bank account, you need the tax ID, the local tax ID, that can be done remotely through a power of attorney. In addition, you would also need such typical things as valid passports. You also need to have health insurance policy, but we can get that filed a little bit later after the initial filing. Of course, you also have to make the transfer to the qualifying Portuguese Golden Visa fund. Now, not every investment fund out there is compliant with the Golden Visa requirements, so it's best to select a Golden Visa compliant fund, and we're more than happy to work with our clients in making recommendations or suggestions based on our years of experience. We also need to have criminal record certificates from any countries that you've resided in since you became an adult, and those also require getting an apostille on them, which is an extra legal step in addition to a notarization. But again, all these legalities and administrative tasks we handle in-house to make the process as pain-free and convenient for you as possible. In addition, if there's any family members that are accompanying you, you would also need to have marriage certificates and birth certificates, which also would have to be notarized, apostilled, and translated into Portuguese. But again, that's all something that we cover in our white glove service here at AmLaw Group when assisting and supporting our clients. As for the timing and the timelines, right now, realistically, it's taking anywhere from 18 to 24 months to get the first application approved. So for most of our clients, that's not too stressful because most of our clients are looking at this as a plan B. They're not looking tomorrow to move to Portugal. So the fact that they have to wait 18 to 24 months to get the first temporary residency is not that big of a stress factor. And the good thing is that the law was recently clarified or amended to indicate that during that wait time, that first 18, 24 months that you're actually waiting, that counts towards your citizenship. So you're not losing that time, that first year and a half, 2 years. It's in fact counting towards your citizenship. If in fact you have to wait that long, let's say it's 2 years or maybe even a little bit longer to get that first temporary residency permit, in fact, you might not have to do as many renewals, because after you've had 5 years of residency, including from when you first file, not when you first get it approved, then you can file after that for citizenship. So that wait time of a year and a half to 2 years actually in some cases kind of cuts in favor of our clients. In summary, that is roughly what's required for the Golden Visa, the initial paperwork. Of course, there's additional documentation that's required. We don't have time in this video to go into all the details. If you have any other questions about the Golden Visa and what it entails and what obstacles and challenges you need to look out for as you start the process, please reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to give you an individualized consultation on all the ins and outs that are necessary in order to make this process as successful as possible for you and your family.